In this video, which is part 37 of the Coinmarketcap chart for Chartjs, we're going to work on the scale. And right now we have the scale, but now what we have done as well is make this bold. And if I zoom in here, look what happened. Once we zoom in at a certain amount of, when we see a certain amount of data points, at that moment we will get here the values shown very nicely. And as well, if we move this, you will see here the items will show December, and all of these will maintain in bolded font. Let's start to look how to do this. So what we're going to do now, and this is part 37, we're going to make sure that if we zoom in, as you can see right now, if we zoom in, we have a problem here. It doesn't show the values. Well, we can see it like this, but this is not really what we want, of course. We want to see at least the details in here. And I want to make sure if we zoom in, we should see all of them. Next, what I want to do is I want to make sure that these here are all highlighted in a bold color, while the numbers are just in a basic font style. So let's start to work on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here and go back into our options, our configuration section, as you can see here. Then I'm going to scroll down here, and then we're going to look at this. So we have this here. And what we want to do here now is work with the following item, and that's basically the total ticks we need. And this is why total ticks are so important. If I do here a console log with the total ticks, save that, refresh, open up developer tab, and you can see here, and then I notice we have another additional item. Let's hide that 218. I'm going to hide 218. Save that, refresh. Alright, so now as I zoom in, you will see the total ticks is now decreasing, which is absolutely wonderful that they have this built in here. So that would mean we can use this data here and change that. So as you can see here, and of course I guess it's animating too much, so I want to make sure we block that, because it's too heavy to see it in the console log, but it is clear what this does. So what I can do here now is just simply an if statement. Just copy this entire item, and then what I'm going to do is paste that in here, and then what I will say is for the total ticks, if the total ticks is below 40 and the total ticks is the length of it, in that case I want to show here every single date. So I'm going to save that, refresh. And now if I zoom in more, there we are. So you might say, why not more? Because you can see here after a while we still have, either you might say, well, we could increase that. You can adjust this accordingly to your personal preference. What we could do here is, I think 45 would be absolutely the ultimate max before we get rotated fonts. So if I zoom in here, as you can see here, alright, so that's still fine. If you do 50, you will get a rotated font, so I'm going to recommend you to check what would fit your item. And you can see here, it's doing something, but anyway. In this case, I'll just do 40. Everything below 40 should show the items or show the data itself. Alright, so now we have this part. The next thing, of course, is to make sure that this is in a bolded font color. So to do that, I'm going to remove all of this here. We're done with this part of the scale. And what we're going to do here is we're going to scroll down and we're going to search for, well, I'm not sure how far we need to scroll down. We need to be in the ticks area. Alright, so that's within the callback, put a comma, enter. And then what I'm going to say here is, I'm going to say here the font. And what I want to do here is the font weight. So I'm going to say here the weight. And if you would do just bold, what will happen, and I save this, everything will be bold. And if you zoom in here, we get a problem because everything is bold. So I don't want that. I only want the month being indicated as bold. So what I'm going to say here is the following. What we're going to do here is basically create another callback functionality, and it is very, very identical to the upper one. So we can say here values, and then what I'm going to do here is a console log dot values. If I save that, refresh, open up developer tab, open up the object, so we get the object with all the information, and you can see here we get the major, it indicates false, so it will not have a unique design. But what we need is basically the value itself. So we have the value here, and what we want to do with the value is going to return it if the item, let's see if we can find that one here. There should be a value. Does it has one with the indication of it? Let's see if I... Alright, so that's the one. Sorry, this is the one we need with the ticks. You can find here the ticks because that's the one I was looking for. And I'm looking for not the value. We click on the tick here. Then you can see here the value, and I was expecting to see here a specific label, but I don't see it. So after looking at it very carefully, for some reason I just didn't look carefully, but you can see here this is the label. This is the one I need, because if I go here and let's look if we can find one. There we are. This is one of the examples I want. This shows here the label value on tick is June. Well, sometimes depending on the situation, we'll get just a number label 10, which is correct because you show 10, 20, and then June 10, 20. Then the next one after this is 20, or this one should be 20, 20, and then after this should be July. There we are. So you can see we get this information. So what I want to do here is say this dot tick, and then after the tick dot label. If I save that now, we should see here the items. Alright, so we get all this information. So what I want to do now is just only indicate one single item. Here, if the length of this string value is 3 characters long, then this should be bold. And if not, don't do anything. Don't give it a bold color. So that's an if statement basically within here. So what I'm going to say here is simply this. I'm going to say here if, and I'm going to grab here this values, labels. Make sure we cut that out, put it in here, and then I'm going to say dot length equals strict 3, because we're expecting only these things because of this here. So there's no difference in that. So if that is the case, return the font weight of bold, and else we don't do anything. So we have that semicolon here, save that, refresh, open up developer, close that developer tab here. There we are. So if I zoom in now, there we are. And then if I move this, you should see here the ones October, and do we see another one here, September, nicely, November, and December in a bolded color. Beautiful. So that is basically what we need to do here. What we can do, the next one is what we call the tick marks. We should have here some tick marks of all of these items here. So in the next video, we're going to cover the tick marks.